If you're serious about truly scaling your online business, what you do immediately after making a sale is just as, if not more important than the sale itself. The facts are that most online business owners lose between 30 and 50% of all of their new clients within the first 90 days or less. And it's not because their service sucks, it's because their onboarding does. There's a very specific reason that my last agency, our average client was worth $180,000, and they stayed with us for 18 months or more. And it was because what we did in those first few days after signing the client. So in this onboarding masterclass, I'm going to be revealing the exact 14 steps that we took with every new client to ensure retention was as high as possible, they got results as fast as possible, and they became raving fans that gave us referrals on autopilot. And step one starts on the sales call. And the first thing you need to do on the sales call is book the onboarding call. The amount of times that I've been working with clients and they tell me that their prospects are ready to sign, and then they say, yeah, no worries, get back to you via email, just complete the payment contract, and then 2 months later, they're still not responding and they just lose that deal. What you want to do is you want to make them commit to something, and the best thing to do is basically booking the onboarding call on the end of the sales call. So at this point, they said yes to working with you, and all they need to do is complete the payment, sign the contract, and, set up any onboarding stuff, get access to things, all that kind of good stuff. So what you can say is, to stay organized, let's just book the onboarding call. And then what you do is you say to them, you must complete X, Y, and Z, which is obviously things like get the payment sorted out, get the contract sorted out, set up all of the project management systems, get access to all the stuff you need, and use that as a reason to get that done faster, because you obviously book the onboarding call within 3 days, 1 week, don't have it more than a week out. And then that gives them a reason to complete the other stuff, because you can say to them, we need these items so our team can prepare for the onboarding call. So please complete this within X amount of time, otherwise we'll have to reschedule the onboarding call. Now, another micro commitment, step 2, is setting up the communication. So maybe you've been responding to them over LinkedIn, over email. You want to get another micro commitment and bring them further into your ecosystem so it's easier to get hold of them. So a lot of my clients use Slack, great communication tool for business, right? And that way, obviously, you can send them the payment information, you can send them the contract, and that way, if they don't obviously respond to you and get the payment sorted out within a few days, you've got an easy way to follow up with them in a communication channel they use internally with their team. And if the person, the decision maker, say it's the CEO, doesn't respond, then you can tag other people in their team, which is going to give a higher likelihood you get the stuff that you need so the deal doesn't slip through the cracks. Now, step number 3 is definitely a mistake that I was making for way too long, which is get the payment before doing any work. In a service-based business where cash is paramount, you need cash to pay, obviously, your employees, your software expensive, anything else that you're using to run the business, your operational cost. You can't wait until the end of the month, because that means if you wait until the end of the month for your clients to pay you, but all your expenses at the start of the month, you're going to have a massive negative cash flow cycle. I can tell you for a fact, I've been getting people to pay up front for the last 5 years. For people paying up to 28k a month retainers, and I've never had a problem. As long as you set the expectation straight from day one, then it's never an issue. And if you're not charging up front and you're working for free for 30 days, understand you're taking a massive risk that you don't need to. And if the client's not willing to pay up front for 30 days, it's probably not the kind of client that you want to work with. So don't work with them. Step 4, also to do with payments. This was a huge unlock for me, getting recurring billing set up. Now, if you're watching this, you probably know the pain if you run a service-based business, consultancy, agency, of when clients don't pay on time and you have to send that awkward message to pay the invoice, and then they don't pay it, and then you have to ask again, and it just drags on and on and on. and then ultimately you're just working for free again. How you get around this is on the first call, you set up the payment and you tell them it's recurring billing. And if you do a performance base, you can just have a minimum retainer which covers your costs, which is recurring billing, so you know that the cash is sorted out for your operational costs, and then you can sort out the performance on top of that. You want to get this sorted out for all of your clients because, again, if everyone pays on average 7 days late, this creates a massive negative cash flow cycle, and in the long term, that could destroy your business. Tell them from day one how we operate at our company. We set recurring billing, so this card will charge at this time every single month, and the reason we do that is so that we can spend more time getting you results instead of doing admin work. So we said it once, it's done, and then we can make sure we focus on delivering you a great service. If you frame it like that, no one's going to say, no, please can you send me separate invoices and just not spend as much time getting me good results, right? As long as you're delivering a great service and you get them good results, everyone's happy, and then you never have to chase up those late payments again. Number 5, contracts. Always get them to sign a contract. If you're working internationally for a client and you're charging them 3K, 5K, 2K, whatever it might be, the chances of you, if something goes wrong, be able to take to them to court and successfully win the case and not losing a lot of money is pretty slim. Not legal advice, but when I've looked into it before, most people aren't going to go to those lengths. So if you have a really bad client, the chances are you're probably still going to lose the money. Just being completely candid. However, most people respect a contract and it's a professional agreement which will give you a higher likelihood that they are going to, respect when your payments are, respect the notice periods, respect how you obviously handle the privacy of their data, and it just makes you a more professional outfit and it gives more commitment from both sides. Make it a mandatory expectation, a requirement to work with you and your company that before any work starts, contract gets signed and a payment gets signed. Now, step number 6 is everything that I just said. So the payment, the contract, if you want to get access to the communication and obviously all the project management stuff, automate all of it. So using tools like Zapier, Make, there's loads of other ones coming out of AI now, but what you want to optimize for is speed. You need to make sure you win the trust of the client early on, because that's when the remorse is what we call it. Buyer's remorse is highest when they've just made the payment, and that's where you can lose them. So how you get around that is speed, efficiency, professionalism. The payment, obviously that triggers an automation where they get the contracts immediately, and then that triggers an automation where they get access to the project management system immediately, and anything they need to do to get ready for the onboarding call so your team can get to work. Make it instant, and that will give an incredible first impression, a great user experience, and that will reaffirm that they've made the right choice working with you. Step number 7, to drive that point home even further, send them a personalized thank you note. Now you can record a video that you send out to everyone, or if you want to be even more personalized, actually just record a video for them or send them a voice note and send it directly to the decision maker or anyone else that you're going to be working with in their team saying, hey there, it's Nigel. I work for X, Y, and Z company, the founder. Here's a little bit about us. I just wanted to send you this quick thank you note to let you know how excited we are to work with your company name. This is what we think is possible. We're really excited to establish this long-term partnership. If you need anything from me and my team, contact us, and just want to say thank you for putting our trust in us. It's a very small thing. It will take you 30 seconds, 1 minute, but it goes a very long way, especially in the early stages when you're trying to establish that trust with your client. So step 8 is introduce the team. If you're a freelancer, just introduce yourself at this point. But if you are a team, you want to show them that there's other people there, there's humans there, as well as you, the founder. And this is really important because you don't want to be the person that's always talking with your clients, right? If you want to build a business, you want to scale it, you want your team to be able to be the one so you can delegate the communication to them. So you might have an account manager, You might have a technical person for the thing that you're helping them with, where it's running their ads, like a media buyer. You might have a content person. You might have an IT support person. If you don't tell them that and you don't show them that there's a team there, one, they'll always be coming to you, so you'll never be able to scale. And secondly, they won't even know that you've got a team. So be like, where is all this money going? Why is it so expensive? Show them from day one that we've got a professional team of 5 people here, and this is why we get such great results. Now, closely linked to that, step 9 is set the communication guidelines straight away. So if you've got a team, mention, this person's the account manager. If you've got an issue with communication, go to them. This person's the media buyer. If you've got an issue with the ads, go to them. And establish who does what straight away. And again, this makes sure that your team are better resourced. People aren't going to get distracted, including yourself, the founder, for things that you shouldn't really be talking about. And it's just taking your time. And outside of who do they go to for what, you also want to say the timelines in how you communicate. So if you have established that within Monday to Friday, we have a 24-hour response time. If you haven't answered a message within 2 hours, and then they start getting on your case about it, you firmly remind them, this is the expectation, this is how we operate at this company. And if you do that and you do it in a polite manner, you've got to stand firm, usually it's going to be fine. And then obviously you can say, for obviously the more strategic conversations, we have a weekly or bi-weekly call where we answer this, and we have a monthly end of call where we review everything, the reports, and anything else, like I said, in Slack, 24-hour response times, Monday to Friday. Set the expectations from day one, keeps everyone happy, no surprises. Now, number 10 is giving them live access to reporting or a project management tool. And the reason you want to do this is if you don't give them some sort of report about your service, they will start making their own assumptions and their own reasons what's happening, and is the 5K that I'm paying a month worth it? Because they could just be looking at the wrong data. For example, if you're helping a company get more clients, and obviously the easy way to track that is, did you make more sales or not? If the answer's no, there might be a leading indicator, which is, we got more traffic to your website, for example, or we got more calls booked. But if they don't understand how to track that information, they might just look at it and go, I didn't get more customers, it's a waste of 5K. Whereas if we show that, no, we got 200 people to book in a call with you, and they're going to close within the next few weeks, and we can see this progression. So you need to show them from a reporting standpoint what's happening. And if you give them access to your project management system, and then maybe it's, in Asana, Trello, one of these tools where you have a flow of the work that's happening, so they see exactly what your team are doing, where things are at, it gives them the comfort knowing that work is happening. And to drive this point home further, number 11 is you give them the roadmap. Now, in the sales call, I always recommend showing a roadmap. And if you want to know what a roadmap is, it's basically look at all your previous clients. From the first thing you did with them, the onboarding, to Z, which is getting the result that they obviously came to you for, what are all the different steps in that process and the timelines between each step? For example, when we used to run Facebook ads and content, month 1 would be setting up, recording all of the content, optimizing the website. Month 2 will be testing the ads, figuring out what works. Month 3 will be optimizing. And then month 4, month 5, month 6. And we'd have little touch points at each month. So the client knew exactly what was coming. So it wasn't a surprise after month 1, we've not got the result they wanted, because they knew it took time because, we're building out the content, for example. What you do is when you get into the communications channel like Slack, you give them that same roadmap, because the thing is, people need to be reminded a lot more than you think. Now, number 12 is the onboarding call itself. And remember, first impressions last the longest. So there's a few key action items you need to make sure you hit on this first call, and it's the most important call obviously after the sales call. So the first thing you want to do, obviously you've introduced your team on the channel. Now you want to get the faces on the call. So get everyone from your team that's working on the account just on the call for the first 5 minutes, get them to introduce themselves, say hello, and then obviously they can jump off and get back to work. I first remember when someone did this for me, and I thought it was just one of the best things I'd ever experienced. The amount of trust that it brought to the table, especially now in today's age, where people crave that human interaction, and also they see you as a great leader. The next one is obviously run back through the communication guidelines once again. I've already talked about it, but just reaffirm it and make sure you ask them, does that all make sense? Have you got any questions? If the answer is yes, you've got the verbal commitment, fantastic. Then you want to go through the roadmap, the one that you put in Slack. Get it up on the screen, run back through it. Does all that make sense? Have you got any questions? And then what you want to do is segregate out. So month 1, the first few weeks, this is, the 6-month roadmap. We take month 1 out of it. This is what, and then focus them in on exactly what they can expect in month 1. And then obviously that's top of mind. And when you deliver against it, you're just knocking down these trust barriers. Kind of like if you're running and obviously you've got all these hurdles, they're just the trust barriers that you knock them down one at a time and jump over them. Then you make sure you ask them what you need from them in order for this to work. We need something from you and we'll deliver. But if we don't get that stuff from you, we can't deliver our service. Now, next one, a little bit more complicated, but give them something that adds a lot of value right now as a surprise. So I'll give you an example. We used to work with Shopify brands and we used to run their Facebook ads. Now, we knew that it took a little bit of time to optimize the ads and get the results. So what we used to do straight away is give them something they could implement on their store to give them direct value. And what I mean by value is revenue. Revenue in, obviously, their bank account straight away. So we used to know that if they included an upsell on their Shopify store, that they will get usually 10% of customers at checkout doing that upsell. Now, you imagine if they're doing like $1 million a month and they suddenly include that, which they didn't have before, just imagine the amount of extra money they're going to make. So we tell them that in the onboarding call, then they go and implement it. And then even though it's taken us a bit of time to get the result with the ads in line with the roadmap, we're still kind of distracting them with this massive thing of value, which is a surprise they didn't even expect. So now they're really happy and it buys our team time to get obviously the result, which is going to take a bit longer. The next one is absolutely game changing. Still on the onboarding call, by the way. And it's asking if you get the result that obviously you promised them on the sales call, will they be willing to give you a testimonial? And if you want to be a little bit cheeky, even a referral. So the way you ask it, you say something like this. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, so I just wanted to ask the question. Obviously, for me, I'm just starting out in business and it's incredible to work with a company like you. Now, I understand I need to show you with proof and action that we can deliver and get you the results that we promise you, and obviously include what the result is there. But then say, I just wanted to know if I do get this result for you, would you be able to do a video testimonial with me? Because to have that from a company like you would change like the future of my entire business, and it would mean the absolute world. And again, I'm not asking you to do this until we get the result for you. I just wanted to know if that's possible. Unless you're working with a real horrible person, which you shouldn't really be working with anyway, no one's going to say no to that. But why this is so powerful is obviously when it comes to when you got the result, asking for that testimonial, they've already verbally committed to it right back when you started. So it's much easier and they're much more likely to go and say yes. And again, use the same approach, ask for a referral to someone in their network if you want us to do both. The last thing on the onboarding call is after it's finished, send them follow-up notes and action items. I should be doing this after every single catch-up call you have with them. Again, use AI if you really want to, and you should always have note takers on the calls. But for the onboarding call, it's especially important. That stuff you've asked them to do that obviously your team need to get to work, you need to make sure that that's there written as well as obviously verbally confirmed on the call. the communication times, the roadmap, what they need to focus on this month. Make sure it's all written down because you're creating a dialogue. So if you do that job for them, they know that you're saving them time and it's just a more enjoyable experience for them. So be proactive. Follow up with the action items and you'll save everyone time and you'll see how much of a difference it makes. Step 13, unlucky for some, but I think this is one of the best, is give them a personalized gift within the first month. Figure out if they like coffee, which most business owners do, and figure out what their local coffee shop is. Maybe it's a chain like Starbucks they go to, but maybe it's an independent place. And what you want to do is either get them a gift card or just try and get in contact with that local coffee shop and say, can I just buy a stamp of 10 coffees? You know, let's say each coffee's $5, whatever, $50, and give them that as a surprise on one of the calls that you have. Maybe it's the onboarding call, maybe it's one of the following calls. And the thing is, why this is so powerful is every single time they go to get a coffee and they hand over that gift stamp, you're going to be at top of their mind. So think about, if that happens 10 times, how powerful that is. Subconsciously, that is creating a very powerful connection. And the very last one is a check-in call. So over the course of the first month, whenever you feel like it's right, I mean, I wouldn't do it straight away because not enough time has passed. Whoever the decision maker is, whether it's the CEO that you're originally on the call with, whether it's the marketing manager or someone else within their company, depending on the size of the company, you want to personally reach out and have an unscheduled one-to-one check-in call with that individual. And basically, all you want to do is ask them, I just wanted to check Mr. and Mrs. Client. We've obviously had X amount of time together. I wanted to see, is there anything that, you know, we can do to further improve this service? And I just wanted to check in and make sure there's no issues. Now, this is great, and you just listen and just let them say whatever it is. One, because you're going to get better feedback to improve your service. Two, because a lot of the reason clients leave is because problems start happening that you can't see. And it's because you don't have any feedback mechanisms to catch these things earlier. So, for example, maybe someone's not got the access to a reporting system and they tell you that straight away and you solve that problem within 24 hours. If they still haven't got access and maybe you and your team aren't aware about it, and then 2 months later, it compounds into a much bigger problem, then they might start wanting to leave and look for other companies because they think you're not good at communication. And even if there's no problems whatsoever, trust me when I tell you, the fact that you just checked in to ask if everything's okay and if there's any feedback, they will massively appreciate it. And it will massively increase the trust factor with that client and the time that they spend with you. Now, if you found this video helpful and you want to know the exact way that I build these systems from scratch to delegating them to your team, click the video here so you can get more time back to focus on growth and scaling your business.